I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out.
Good evening, watchmen and watchwomen. As you could probably tell when you came to the door, the show was titled a little bit different today. There's certainly a reason. I don't take doing stuff like that lightly. I have seen reports and gotten reports all day long. And there are so many different factions and so many different situations right this very moment that are doing something called posturing. This is not a good moment. I've talked before, and you've heard the saying about, everything's. I'm trying to think. I'm losing the saying in my head. Basically, it's like we're all standing in gasoline, and it's just waiting for that spark, that match. I think that match is getting ready to be struck. Now, which match gets struck first? I don't know. But I think once that first match gets struck, the rest are all going to go almost in unison. The reports that I've gotten today don't just cover domestic situations, but they also cover international situations. Again, when one match gets struck, the others are going to follow suit. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what I've been told is going on, and I want to also explain to you the part of the title of this show. In my group, we have different alert statuses. And there are different levels of different levels. Now maybe you can already start to see. Red 1, basically, okay, I've always joked on this show because my favorite alert status is Ron White's emergency alert status, and it's buy a damn helmet, put on the damn helmet. Well, we're at put on the damn helmet, and actually we've been at put on the damn helmet for quite some time, but it was just a bicycle helmet, nothing serious. Now it's time to put on the real helmet. Without a doubt, time to put on the real helmet. So what does that actually mean? How is what I just said valuable to you? Well, it basically means that it's time for you to get everything good to go. And I mean, if your plans are to bug out, then you need to have your gear ready to go by your door or wherever it is that you're going to store your gear. If you've got a trailer you're going to be pulling, go make sure everything's ready to go with that. Go check the tires, the air pressure in the tires. Go ahead and hook up your lights if you care. Go ahead and hook up your lights. Check that out. Whatever the case. Go through the motions. And please, I beg of you to start running drills. Even if you've done it a million times before, please start running drills. I really think when that first match strikes, the rest are going to go right with it. Right now, our nation is in some turmoil. You know this. But it is a turmoil at such a level that any nations outside of our own may be looking in and seeing a level of weakness, an opportunity that they haven't had in a very long time. There's already so much confusion and disarray in this country that if we were to be attacked by an outside force, we'd be such in shambles it would be unreal. And part of that is, largely due to current events, and other parts of it has been a gradual change in our society for decades. I've talked here about how, and you know this, how things just aren't the same in our country as far as, people don't know their neighbors anymore. And even if you do, that tight-knit, almost family, it no longer exists for the most part. So there's a lot that we need to look at here and understand that what we're going through now, what we're dealing with now, is confusion light. And why I say that is because up to this point, we can still communicate with one another. That is confusion light. Confusion heavy is when everything's in a, and I'm just going to say it, when everything's in a clusterfuck as it is right now, but 100% of that communication is gone. You think things are confusing now. Shut off that communication. Right now, communication is being abused heavily. Heavily. There are so many conspiracy theories. It's madness. It's absolute madness. There are certainly reasons to be concerned. There are reasons, in my opinion, in my lifetime, 48 years, this is the most concerning moment since I've been alive. By far. I'm not sure domestically yet exactly what's going on, but I'm telling you, things don't appear to be what they appear to be. There was a letter that came out today. I probably should have had that handy. Give me a quick moment here, and I will try to find that. Wait a minute. Time out. I shared it on my Facebook, so give me 1 second here. And you've all seen this anyway, and so it doesn't get trampled on because it's kind of cool. And I've downloaded it already. The CD or DVD or whatever of the UFO files or whatever was released today. So just thought that was cool. Let me get this open here. Okay. So this is a memo that came from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And it says this. It says, the American people have trusted the armed forces of the United States to protect them and our Constitution for almost 250 years. As we've done throughout our history, the U.S. military will obey lawful orders from civilian leadership, support civil authorities to protect lives and property, ensure public safety in accordance with the law, and remain fully committed to protecting and defending the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, you could start right there in Washington, you know. The violent riot in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021 was a direct assault on the U.S. Congress, the Capitol building, and our constitutional process. We mourn the deaths of 2 Capitol policemen and others connected to these unprecedented events. Now, I thought there was only 1 officer. I must be missing something because I thought there was 1 officer, 4 civilians, 1 officer. I don't know where the second officer comes in. Anyway, continuing on, we witnessed actions inside the Capitol building that were inconsistent with the rule of law. The rights of freedom of speech and assembly do not give anyone the right to resort to violence, sedition, and insurrection. I'll get to that in a moment. As service members, we must embody the values and ideals of the nation. That's exactly how I'm going to get to that in a moment. We support and defend the Constitution. Any act to disrupt the constitutional process is not only against our traditions, values, and oath, it is against the law. Didn't that scare you? Should have scared you. Didn't? Okay. Well, then moving along, let's see what are the values and the ideals of the nation. Well, maybe we should look to the foundation of the nation. Maybe we should look to the foundation of the nation. Imagine that. Let me take a read. Do you mind? Because I need to know. I've never seen this document before, and well, I would like to read it to you so that we know what the values and the traditions of this country are. This, by the way, has nothing to do with an election. This has to do with an out-of-control government that, in my opinion, is getting ready to trample heavily on the rights of the American citizenry. And when I say heavily, I mean taking your firearms. I'm not kidding. What I see going on right now is a Hegelian dialectic. I see a setup. Absolutely. Man, I watched probably an hour and a half of ABC, I think, earlier on YouTube. And I'm telling you, and this is ABC, not CNN. This was ABC. And I'm telling you, the lies were mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. I saw, I believe it was just under 3 minutes, a clip of Trump speaking earlier today, to where I specifically heard him say he wanted no violence. He did not want violence. I heard it myself. And these scumbags had the nerve to say that he was trying to incite violence today. Now, you all should well know that I don't jump behind any political party, any politician. I've not been a fan of Trump. I've been very critical of Trump since before he won in 2016. And I will continue to do so. Because it's my job. Unlike these cucks at ABC, yeah, I'm pissed. I don't even like Trump. I don't. But what I saw today, it was horrible. It was horrible. The posturing that was being done. Absolutely insane. They tried to make what happened at the Capitol seem a million times worse than what happened at the Capitol. I don't know how many times now I've heard it, likened to the early 1800s when the British attacked D.C. Nothing like it. Were there all kinds of buildings burning? No, you're thinking of Portland. Or Minneapolis. Or insert your major city here, because a lot of them were on fire. Literally. But we got sidetracked. I'm sorry. We got sidetracked. I was going to tell you a story. I was going to tell you the story of the foundation of this nation and hopefully be able to explain the traditions. He said tradition, right? We better make sure of this, right? Better make sure. Traditions, values, and oath. Traditions, values, and oath. So let's see what the traditions and values and oath is in the United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Not men, God. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Fuck, I've done that here since 2014, have I not? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, how many of you have truly been able to participate in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Huh? What, you say? Well, then, who prevented you from being able to participate in that life, that liberty, and that pursuit of happiness? Who? Really? Huh. Interesting. Well, then we should probably continue on then, right? Certainly. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That would be us, for those taking notes. Let's see. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Let me repeat that. that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, meaning the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, oh shit, this goes way back. This debt is owed from way back. Huh. Imagine that. Imagine that. Once again, and whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people, the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for the light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing them the forms in which they are accustomed. Now, is that not what we see going on today? Look at all the beta males laying over. The men that are supposed to be standing. And when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about this election. Jeez. How many men are letting themselves get just pistol whipped by the family courts? How many men? How many of you have put up with unjust laws, stupid rules and regulations? $100 and some odd ticket because you had a light out on your vehicle. Doesn't fucking sound like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to me. Prudence indeed. Oh, well, sorry. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, I never can get that right, pursuing to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object to the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Let me repeat that because that is important. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Kind of sounds like it might be a little attached to the First Amendment. And our ability to be able to openly and freely communicate, in which we cannot. Almost like they're trying to hide something. Folks, this right here is the traditions, the values, and most certainly the oath. How the hell did it get so bent? How the hell did it get so bent? Man, again, I wasn't even talking about the election. Oh, thank you, N4 UPD. I just now saw that. I was unaware of that an officer committed suicide. Totally unaware of that. Again, I wasn't even referencing an election. Don't need to. It's not necessary to pull that card. But now that the bullshit government's got your attention, let's talk about it, shall we? Because some of us have been enduring suffrages for a very long time. Many in the nation know that things aren't right. I think many people are getting very, very tense. Not just me. The fumes for all that gasoline that's poured all over the ground, getting pretty bad. I really do suspect that what is going on has been allowed to go on. Just like Pearl Harbor, just like 9/11. I don't know, maybe the Challenger. We're not in a good position. And going back to what I witnessed on ABC earlier, it's like they're doing everything they can to ratchet things up and then blame it on the other guy. You know, the whole fake victim thing. Poke, 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 poke. Oh, you hit me. That's exactly what's going on. But the level of it, I mean, because come on, that goes on all the time. But the level of it was just nuts. Now, when they've got the media doing this, you better damn well pay attention. Because we've long known that the media is propaganda. Well, when they're propagandizing this hard, it's time to wake up. Hang on, I'm trying to find my mouse. I've got breaking news coming in. Hang on, let me get this tweeted out because it is breaking important. So, tweet, put it out on the Book of Face or Book of Ass, however you want to look at it. And of course, opened it in a different browser window. U.S. House advances bill to urge Vice President to invoke 25th Amendment despite Pence saying no. And yes, I was just going to add, Pence earlier said they didn't think that would be a good idea. And so now the U.S. Congress has voted more or less to make him do it. Or, well, I don't know if he absolutely has to do it. I think it's just a formality. I don't think it actually holds real weight. But I'm not positive on that. Again, poke, 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 poke. You know? People are pissed off. There are a lot of people pissed off because there are a lot of Trump supporters, a lot of Trump voters, which equals a lot of pissed off people. I probably wouldn't poke that bear. I probably would not poke that bear. I was kind of talking back and forth on a Facebook post the other day, and I referenced this, the poking back and forth. And when I referenced it, I used phrases like the half that matter and the half that don't, right? And I'm talking about the United States citizenry, the half that matter and the half that don't. Well, what do I mean by the half that matter and the half that don't, right? Oh, that's horrible. You're saying, this political party matters and this... No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No. Who am I saying? The gun owners. The ones who own guns. Okay? They're the ones that matter. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Because if there's a civil war between the citizenry of this country, the only ones that are going to matter is the ones with the guns. I'm telling you. Just saying. So, keep that in mind, right? But when I was telling them about the half that matters and the half that don't, it really sunk in where we're at and how ugly this could likely get. But I do not think that the American people will have a chance to even get very far with it. I think that there's going to be a call for the firearms probably within the next few months. If not, a flat-out civil war. But I think both are going to come either way. We're not in a good spot. I've been yakking for 39, short the intro. So let me move on to another, part of the world. When I started the broadcast, I talked about posturing and how there's a lot of posturing. And it's not just the posturing here by, the DOJ or the posturing by the Pentagon or the posturing by, Trump supporters even, or the posturing by the Democrats, the posturing by just you name it. There's a hell of a lot of posturing going on right here in our nation right now. But there's also posturing going on internationally. And when I say posturing, I'm not talking about in the media, hey, you news guy, go tell that country this, that we said this. I'm not talking about that kind of posturing. I'm talking about hard physical asset posturing. And it's multiple countries. Again, if you were a country that had a bone to pick with the United States. Wouldn't right about now be a perfect time to pick that bone? Not only that, but the United States is posturing, and again, not talking about through news agencies across the world. I'm talking about hard physical assets. Man. I get up in the mornings now and I come in and it's the usual. I turn on the computers and go start coffee. But I immediately, and I didn't used to do this, folks. Believe it or not, the news guy didn't used to do this. I didn't used to come in and sit down and the first thing I went through was news. Hell no. Hell no. That's like going to work. I ain't had my coffee yet. I ain't going to work. And the first thing I do is start going to the news. Because we are at such a critical point in time that any moment something could shift that will give us a real good indicator of where and what match is getting struck first. But there's posturing hard physical assets in countries like China, Iran, North Korea. They're actually starting to posture again, even though right now they're dealing with their own issues. They've got a lot of issues in North Korea right now. I'm not sure what is going on with these power outages. I have my suspicions about the one in Pakistan. I still think that that was payback. I think that was retaliation for Congress granting them so much money. But I suspect that if physical turmoil breaks out over here, I think any number and or multiple countries are going to seize upon that opportunity while there's that chaos and confusion to strike. And likewise, due to the current situation that our nation is in, I see that there's chances that there could be a first strike on our part, especially on the nation of Iran. Which brings me to the conference today that I watched with Mike Pompeo. Now, that is, I do believe, the third time since this election debacle that I've heard Pompeo speak. And today, the rhetoric was so thick Now, apparently, we are blaming 9/11 on Iran. Now, I want you to let that sink in real deep. And let's look a little bit at just a brief look at a timeline here. On September 11, 2001, Saudi individuals, largely Saudi individuals, hijacked airplanes and crashed them into the World Trade Centers, the Pentagon, one in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And that's even keeping with the story that we've been told. And, by the way, did you catch I said Saudi individuals? Huh. Interesting. How come we haven't bombed the shit out of Saudi Arabia? Huh. Anyway. So we've been told that much. And so then we said it's Afghanistan. Or Iraq. I think Iraq. I don't know. I can't remember which one we went into first. Does it matter? No. Why? Because there was weapons of mass destruction, man. All kinds of weapons of mass destruction. Remember those? Yeah, that turned out to be bunkers full of gold that we stole. Is what that turned out to be. Oops. Oh, you don't say. Yeah, and then they had to make a deal with the devil known as the International Monetary Fund, right? And then join the global banking system, because that's how that works. When we spread freedom to your country, we not only spread freedom, we spread international banking, damn it. Which is actually what it's really about. And so, I mean, not super long ago, this whole there was no weapons of mass destruction thing was even kind of blowing up in their faces. It wasn't real long ago. And now Pompeo comes out today and starts talking about an Iran connection and provides no proof. Nothing, nada. Reminds me of when they blamed Afghanistan and Iraq. No proof. Nada. So you need to put it in your mind that there could be a first strike. And I don't think that's going to go over well, and I don't think that is a conflict that's going to necessarily stay in the Middle East. In fact, I think that might stay in the Middle East for, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes before that cat gets out of the bag. And I don't necessarily mean instant thermonuclear warfare. It doesn't have to go to instant thermonuclear warfare. Especially when it's been reported that foreign subs are not far off the coast. Working on it. No, that's not what that is. Socratic knowledge. I'm telling you right now, all these conspiracies and stuff like that, they're part of the confusion. That's the whole idea. I've been trying to say this for the last 4 years, this whole Q thing and all of that. That was to do nothing but pacify people, to keep people confused, to keep people pacified. That's all that was. It's a psyop. I mean, come on. It's been 4 years. How many times now were people going to be arrested and nobody got arrested? Seriously, we've got things that we need to be concerned about, and that ain't them. That ain't them. You know, people want to play first world fantasies, and we're about to get slapped with the first world reality, a third world reality. Sorry, a third world reality. As in Venezuela like nation, our own nation, banana republic situation. That's what we're looking at. And that's just here internally. And I don't think that our woes end internally. I think our bigger woes are going to wind up externally. Man, we better look at the big pictures. This is no trust the plan crap. It's not. If there is any reality between this battle that we're watching between Trump and all these others, if that is actually real, if there is actually really a battle there, and it's not just a circus sideshow to set up the American people, if it is actually real, then you need to understand there is no plan. Because if there is a plan, it would have never gotten this far. There is no plan. Don't let them keep you complacent and pacified and out of reality. I see a lot of people that have it in their minds that there's some grand scheme and Trump's going to pull this off and he's going to be president on the 21st of January. And that is not going to happen. What are people going to do? Is there going to be like a mass suicide on like the 21st of January? Because with the level and the amount of people that are absolutely convinced that there's some big major scheme and Trump's going to remain in office, that's not good. And those people that don't take themselves out, what else might they do? Take somebody else out? This is not healthy. This is not healthy. We need to talk about what's going on, not about a novel that sounds good. This is real. Whatever the hell it is, it's real. And there is no fantasy ending. In fact, I don't see a fantasy ending anywhere. Not for quite some time. And the only place I see a fantasy ending is in the Bible. And we got a whole lot of shit to roll through before we get to that. And I'll trust that Bible before I trust Q any day of the week. I'm telling you, we're either being set up, which is what I really do think is happening. That's what I think is happening. I think we're being set up. I think this is the Hegelian dialectic being played out. I think they're trying to get the American people to rise up and react, okay? And then they're going to bring the hammer down. Say, oh, yeah, see, told you those gun owners would be a problem. That's what I see happening right now. I see that is what is going on right this moment. And I think they're all in on it, including Trump. But let's say I'm wrong, because I most absolute certainly could be wrong. And let's say that there's a factor of reality in what we're looking at. Okay. So going with the factor of reality of what we're looking at, let's say this continues on. There is nothing anywhere other than conspiracy crap being thrown around on social media that, trust the plan. And there is no plan. There's no plan. If things were going to be done, they would have been done. What I see happening is members of the government, both on the left and on the right, trying to agitate the hell out of the American people to the point that they feel that there is nothing left that they can do but respond. And the moment that they do respond, which, by the way, I'm telling you, they're not going to fight a fair fight. When people do respond, they're going to bring the hammer down. And that's when you're going to see all these draconian gun laws and the gun confiscation and all of that take place. Now, you might be asking, Mike, what are you saying? Are you just saying we should just stand down and let them? When it comes to the election, yes. My dad taught me to choose your battles wisely. Okay? And I'd also learned that when you play somebody else's game, chances are very slim that you've got any chance of winning. So choose your battles wisely and understand that sometimes the only way you can win is to not play. We live in a society that there's a lot of that right now because of the false victimhood. When you get, if you have to deal with a false victim, really the best thing that you can do is not deal with that false victim. Walk away. Don't say a word, just walk away. Because you know what? They're even going to claim that you victimized them by doing that, by walking away, by choosing not to engage. They're even going to say you victimized them that way, right? But guess what? That's the only damn time that they can claim that you victimized them. The moment that you say anything, they're going to claim victim. And then when you say something else, they're going to claim victim. And it's going to go on and on and on and on. And then, at some point, hopefully you got enough common sense to walk away. And then that'll be the last time that they can claim victim. Well, you can do that the first time. You can do that the first time. So why don't we, the people, why don't we set them up? Why don't we use our heads instead of our asses? Why don't we set them up? How do you do that? By not responding to their bullshit. Here's what happens. When you don't respond to their bullshit, they're going to have to ramp up their bullshit to try to get you to respond. I just went through this with neighbors. I just literally went through this with neighbors. I know this tactic well. What happens is when you don't respond, when you refuse to respond, they will ramp up and ramp up and ramp up and get so far out of line that can't nobody say nothing when they get smacked down. We're not in that position right now. If we respond now, it looks like an insurrection. Looks like a coup. And if you're only responding because of an election, then it most certainly is an insurrection and a coup. Your angst should be about far more than a damned election. Decades upon decades upon decades of taxation without representation. Unjust laws. Cruel penalties, theft with things like civil asset forfeiture. Injustices on such a grand scale. Ladies and gentlemen, if we want to stand a chance, we got to use our heads. We got to use our heads. Right now they're poking and poking and poking. They want your response. Don't give it to them. Make them keep poking. Make them keep poking until everybody, didn't the Republicans, didn't they do that? Didn't the conservatives do that to the liberals during the campaign for the 2016 election? They kept making the liberals poke until the liberals looked so frickin' crazy that they had their own people walking away. Did they not? Well, you need to do it again. Do the same thing again. Make them poke until they get so crazy because their poking ain't doing nothing that they get so out of line with their poking that even their own people walk away. When you start seeing their own people walk away because of the poking, that is when it is time. Not now. Not when they're building. Not when they're building. Because believe me, they're building. Now is not the time. Now is not the time. Telling you, got to be smart about this. Because you're not just going up against one faction. You're going up against citizenry. You're going up against the military. You're going up against, well, the government itself. Obviously, if the military's involved, the military done said they'd get involved. They made that very clear, did they not? And even more horrifying, you're going against the media. You literally have all of that against you. In fact, you've got a lot of other nations against you, their governments against you. What happens if you act a fool right now? What happens if you act a fool and are actually, making forward progress in acting a fool? You don't think these other nations would be willing to send troops to help smack you back into your place? You can't tell that they would do that just from the statements that they've already said? You are not in a position of strength at this particular moment. You're not. There may be some of you individuals out there that might have some strength behind your position. But you need a far larger group than that that are able to communicate with one another. Hmm. We are in some deep trouble. We don't need to have conspiracies and whacked out things. The reptilian overlords. We don't need all that. The reality is fucked up enough. Let me go ahead and let me run through the normal stuff, and then we'll get to headlines, and because this is cray cray, and then I'm cray cray. I know it's nuts. It's nuts. What is going on is nuts. And I'm sure I missed a whole lot of stuff that came my way today. With what I've told, I've had so much stuff come my way today. It's unreal. So yeah, let me have a sip of tea, a vape. Got onions planted today. So the lettuce is already starting to sprout a little bit. So waiting to see activity from the tomatoes. But I do see the lettuce starting to sprout. I'm kind of excited about it. About, I don't know, maybe a half inch at this point. I did 4 rock wool cubes for the lettuce, because there's going to be 4 in the container that I'm doing this in. 4 heads. It's iceberg. It's not romaine or nothing. And so I put 3. Pardon me. I put 3 seeds in each rock wool cube, and yeah, looks like all 3 in each one are gonna go. So that means I'm gonna have to execute some lettuce seedlings. So, but it is what it is. I'll let them start to grow a little bit and see which one looks the healthiest out of each rock wool cube, and then I'll execute the others. It's the survival of the fittest. So anyway, I know I'm so cruel, but anyway, and then I expect those to do really, really well. And the onions are going to take a while. I believe 4 months is what the package said for the onions. So that's going to take a while. And I think like 90, I don't know if it was 90 days on it's cherry tomatoes. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I am absolutely stoked. But I got, like I said, I got the onions planted today, or in the rock wool cubes. And then, as soon as I've got good, healthy seedlings going on and starting to see a root coming down to the bottom of the rock wool cubes on the lettuce, then I will go ahead and put them in the little seedling cup things, and then let them take off and do their thing. I've already got the reservoir and everything all set up. The only thing I don't have yet, I gotta wait until I've got the money to get it, is a aquarium pump, the air bubbler thing. I gotta get one for the second tent. They're like $30, so when I can. But anyway, yep, gotta get that. And then I think that's really about it, because everything else is all good to go in that tent. Yeah, everything's good to go. I got my, like I said, I got my reservoirs all set up with the holes cut for the seedling cups and all that good stuff, and the cotton wicking or whatever material that wicking's made out of. Got it all good to go. I gotta put some clay pebbles, in the bottom of it, because I gotta hold the rock wool up from the bottom, like especially the onions. I want the bulb of the onion, to go actually on top of the seedling cup. So what I have to do is I have to put clay pebbles underneath of the rock wool to keep it raised up, and that way as the bulb grows, it'll just start to grow right there at the top, and the roots, of course, will grow down into the reservoir. So So that's the plan for that. Pretty much doing the same thing with the lettuce, so that way the heads of the lettuce, I can make sure that they form above the seedling cup. So those ought to be fine. And of course the tomatoes ought to be fine. So I can't wait. I'm just so stoked about this. I'm just kind of what it is. I absolutely can't wait to have some fresh lettuce and tomatoes and peppers. I want to get on peppers. I want to do some, not like jalapeno or nothing, like green peppers. So I want to get on that like real quick. I want to get some green peppers in there. So let's see. Let's see here. Let me run through the normal stuff, and we will get to the headlines and whatnot, because it's craziness. Amazon affiliate, we're at $10.57. I thank those that participate in that. For those that don't know, we're an Amazon affiliate. There's a link in the description of the videos, as well as the watchmannews.com in the top right. You click that link, it just takes you to Amazon. But it does so with our special link. When you make purchases, those items don't cost you anything more, but it throws it a little bit our way, a little commission. All those little bits add up at the end of the month, as you see, and it's a nice little help. So we thank you very much for that. Not going to go over Teespring stuff. And PayPal, so which is actually the best way to help. Our PayPal donate link is in the description of the videos, as well as at thewatchmannews.com right in the main menu. When you click that, it just takes you to our PayPal donation page. You don't have to have a PayPal account. You can do so as a guest with a debit or a credit card, but I always let people know it says Transforming Disabilities up top. It also says Purpose the Watchman News donation. That way you know you're in the right place. And let's try not to skip too many beats. COVID numbers right now, and I'll refresh because I don't know if it just kind of changed or not. Yeah. It was like 243. It was 243. I kid you not. Before I refreshed, you can back up and look. That was 243 before I refreshed. Now it's setting at 4,513. Now, folks, I just opened this website before I started the show, so maybe about an hour and let's say 20 minutes ago, that was at 243. Now it's okay. So yesterday they're saying new cases, 210,847. I think that is. I'm over on the other screen with my, hard to read over there. 1,948 for the, I believe that was yesterday. Like I say, it's hard to see that far over there. Yeah, 1,948. Our little zip code. Our town here, total confirmed, is 1,192. I have no idea what it was yesterday. I can't remember. Oh, wait, that ain't us. Hang on. I was going to say, oh, wow. Why the hell am I way down there? Okay, I'm stupid. All right. What the hell is that all about? All right, 1,710. Is the number. That's total confirmed cases here in our particular zip code. And again, I don't remember at all where it was yesterday, so have to watch yesterday's monologue. All right. Oh, man, I didn't scroll down because I suck. Okay, hang on. Let me take care of that. Do. Normally I have this squared away, but... Telling you, lots of headlines. Ooh. Okay, another sip of tea. Having me a few vapes here. If you couldn't tell, quite a few headlines. And I think it really sets a tone for this coming week. Hang on. Grabbing a couple vapes. Most of us have some kind of ice. Mine is still nicotine. At least, thankfully, it's not coming from burning tobacco. So, I need one of those. 3D printer. An ad. I had ordered, and I never did speak about this. I had ordered, was it 2 weeks ago or something? Maybe a little longer. There was a card that I had in my Amazon wish list. Hell, since before I even had an Amazon account, it's been on my watch list on eBay for a long time. And what it is it's a quick reference. It's a laminated quick reference card. A little bitty, it folds up about the size of a credit card. And it's a quick reference card for programming a Baofeng UB5R whatever variant, radio, because there's a ton of different UB5R variants, and this covers pretty much all of them. And the same process, or the same card really does a good job of applying to our UV5XPs as well. Obviously, I think the only thing that wouldn't be in there would be the fact that this is, the 5XP is 8 watt. And I think it's got tri-power. I think there's 3 different power bands. And I want to say that the UE5R just has 2, low and high, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I think it's only got low and high on the UV5R, to where you've got low, medium, and high on the UV5XP, because it's 8 watt as well. So anyway, neat little card. Okay, so I had ordered that, and ordered it from Amazon, and it's hard to kind of catch them in stock. Like, if you look right now, there's none in stock. So apparently when somebody buys one, that's all they've got is one, and it's usually a pretty good while before you see it come back in stock again. Well, I saw it in stock, and I thought I better get on it. So I got on it. Unfortunately, the Postal Service did not. Well, it kind of pissed me off, because I didn't think I was even going to get the thing. And I did get it today. Finally got it today. And I didn't think I was going to even get the thing. So I contacted the company, which is Gigaparts. I contacted them through Amazon. And I had just asked them a couple very simple questions. Number 1, are you going to make more of them? And number 2, can we arrange some other type of shipping than USPS? Because right now it's a train wreck, and I normally prefer the Postal Service. Not right now. Not right now. So anyway, instead of answering either one of the questions, they came back with, "Oh, well, we expect that you're going to get it." And it's like, wait a minute here, First off, and they didn't even know this. But I want more. I want more. I didn't really just want one. I wanted at a minimum 2, but I'd like to have maybe about 4. But yeah, I wanted a minimum of 2, but they only had 1 I could buy, so I bought 1, and I figured I'd wait until another one got in stock and I would buy it. Right? Well, so that was kind of part of my question, reason I was questioning as well, because I was going to want to get a second one, and I don't want to deal with that with USPS if they're still having issues. I would rather even pay a little bit more to have it shipped with a different courier, to make sure that I got it in a somewhat timely manner. So, but anyway, yeah, that kind of pissed me off, man. When a customer asks you a question like that, answer them. Answer their question. You can give your opinion, that's fine, but at least answer their question, and answer their question first when you reply. Right? Answer it first. Don't tell your opinion first. Answer their questions first, and then give your opinion. Just advice, from somebody that knows a little bit about running a business. Anyway, let me have another sip since I went on my rant. Probably should be whiskey.
Should I throw some Oreos at you?
Yeah, Jen's asking me if she should throw some Oreos at me. No, babe, that only works for me. You don't happen to have a joint, do you?
No.
Because that'd chill me the fuck right out. Okay, well, if you find a joint, throw it at me and I'll chill the fuck right out. Anyway, let me... let's see. At least two U.S. Capitol police officers suspended amid claims they sided with pro-Trump rioters, a lawmaker says. Let me get this over on this screen and get the mic so it's not directly blocking it. Okay. Airbnb to ban guests associated with hate groups in the D.C. area ahead of inauguration and threatens legal action. Mexico reaches preliminary agreement to buy up to 24 million doses of Sputnik V vaccine, says a top health official. Fury in UK after Dutch customs. Fury in the UK after Dutch customs confiscate ham and cheese sandwiches, even though Britons were warned it would happen post-Brexit. Man, is this going to be the ham and cheese revolution? Because that would be kind of cool. Let's see. Disneyland to become COVID vaccination super site in Anaheim, California. Now, I think some of us, kind of expected Disney to play a big role one way or another when it comes to this vaccination, just because of the prior headlines that had been coming out regarding Disneyland and, Disney as a whole and this whole deal. India to see quickest economic rebound in Asia, says UBS. Not like IBS, but share of gold in Russian national reserves beats U.S. dollar holdings for the first time ever. First time ever. Let's see. London police chief vows to step up enforcement of COVID-19 rules. Just what they need over there. Daughter of late anti-torture senator. What? John McCain says MAGA Wait a minute.
What?
Anti-torture senator? Are you kidding me? Anyway, says MAGA terrorists should be sent to Gitmo and fed dog food. Don't you mean your anti-torture daddy? Yeah. Sorry, I injected a little bit of opinion there. Oops. India's army chief calls China and Pakistan a potent threat. A potent threat. It's a potent threat. But hopes for peaceful solution of border dispute with Beijing. Apparently I'm pissing off the dog. Taiwan's representative visits U.S. Embassy in the Netherlands as China condemns lifting restrictions on official meetings. China tells 4.9 million people to quarantine in their home amid fears of a COVID-19 resurgence near the capital. Misinformation on Western COVID vaccines banned. Falsehoods about Russia's Sputnik V permitted. On Twitter, essentially, is what they're saying. Good news, says EC president, as AstraZeneca files for EU approval of its COVID-19 vaccine. U.S. facing peasant revolt as Americans demand free cash, says Max Kaiser. It's a pretty good article, actually. India's Supreme Court puts controversial agricultural laws on hold amid farmers' protests. Twitter permanently suspends more than 70,000 QAnon accounts as social media purge continues. Trust the plan, man. Trust the plan. GoFundMe removes fundraisers for travel linked to pro-Trump rallies due to alleged risk of violence. Court hears QAnon shaman hasn't eaten since arrest over Capitol riot. His mom says non-organic food makes him sick. Tough guy, huh? Better not drink any of that beef broth. Might be a little hard on you. Israel expects to vaccinate children against COVID-19 by March, says pandemic chief. PM's bike ride was not against the law, London police chief says, after report of Johnson's leisurely cycle at Olympic Park. Well, maybe it's not that he was breaking the law. Think there might be another level of things like everybody else is locked up in their homes, but he can just go for a bike ride. I don't think they're too concerned about laws. Second prayer app caught harvesting user location data may have snitched on Muslims to ICE and FBI, says the media. Now, you need to really pay attention to this and realize that when you're installing all these apps and going to this platform and that platform and that platform, you guys are funny. You are. You're really funny. Let's see. A Russian woman live tweets her death as fire kills 8 in Siberia high-rise. And unfortunately, both her and her child succumbed to that fire. Very devastating. U.S. is asking states to speed up vaccine and not hold back the second dose. You remember initially they were supposed to hold back the second dose to make absolutely sure that the people that got the first dose was able to get the second dose because you had to have both doses for this to be able to work. So now they're changing that up, and I would say to those people that either have already gotten or plan to get the vaccine, you can keep this in the back of your mind that ain't nobody going to promise there's going to be a second dose available in the time frame that you have to have that second dose. Just keep that in mind. Global corporate giants turn their backs on Trump and his supporters. Northern Ireland shoppers face empty shelves as red tape dogs supermarkets and supply chains. So yeah, not good, not good. Technology will enable tests to track COVID mutations. Preventative medicine expert tells boom bust. You have a vape. Judge grants stay to only woman on U.S. federal death row hours before her execution, while at the same time they want to execute people. It's ridiculous. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Capitol thing and their reaction and the way that the left is acting towards those individuals involved with that. What the left would like to see happen to those individuals that were involved with that, and just a huge hypocrisy. And there has been from both sides. I'm not just picking on the left. The right's just as bad. It's ridiculous. U.S. officials on major hunt after finding a manatee with Trump etched on its back. Thought that was insane. Big Brother gets even bigger. Moscow to create database with residents' salaries, vehicle information, and even school results. Well, hell, we're way advanced past them. They may have hypersonic missiles, man. They may be able to wipe us out in half the time it would take us to wipe them out. But damn it, we spy on our citizens better. Sanction snapback mechanism of Iran nuclear deal is irrational and must be abandoned in future talks, says Khamenei's advisor. Islamic State plot to murder top U.S. envoy in Kabul foiled by Afghan intelligence amid a wave of killings. Russian-made Telegram messenger shoots to the top of U.S. app charts amid fears of wider social media crackdown following the Trump ban. Which would be my advice if you want to get past that stuff. Stop using U.S. stuff, right? If you've got a social media platform, don't use U.S. servers. Duh! We're a little bitty news organization, and we specifically do not use U.S. servers for this reason. You gotta think smart. If you man, this isn't 1902, right? You gotta battle an equal kind, okay? And a large part of that is in today's world is digital, and you just got to be smarter. Beijing accuses Australia of politicizing business as Chinese bid for major builder is blocked for security concerns. U.S. greenhouse gas emissions see largest annual drop since Second World War, says a report. Turkey joining EU can resolve Brexit uncertainty, says Erdogan, and vowing better relations with European neighbors in 2021. Oil prices hit 10-month high as U.S. dollar weakens and Saudi cuts loom on horizon. Russian ambassador to the U.S. set to attend Biden inauguration as nuclear deal hangs in the balance. Liberals celebrate death of Trump mega donor casino mogul Sheldon Adelson. I mean, this is crazy, you know? Man, when the good book talks about hardened hearts, you get much more hardened than our society? Facebook deletes account of Iran's Press TV news network with 4 million subscribers. As Ukraine looks to China for COVID-19 vaccine, Kiev reveals it won't accept Russian Sputnik 5 even if it's approved by the WHO. Pompeo claims Al-Qaeda has a new home base in Iran. Pardon me. Doesn't provide evidence. That's, yeah. Part of all the craziness I was telling you about earlier in his little speech. Egypt reopens airspace to Qatar as Gulf allies continue lifting Doha blockade. Trump says impeachment moves against him are causing anger, but insists, "I want no violence." And I heard him say it more than once today. CNN says it will not carry Trump's speech live from Texas and calls on responsible networks to censor the president. What? Yelp debuts new feature allowing users to report businesses, mask and social distancing violations. Snitch Nation, here we come. And yeah, that's insane. No. And this is big tech, folks. Remember, the battlefield's different. I mean, there's so many different battlefields for one, but if we're in Rome, right, and when I say that, if we're online, don't you think we need to be fighting smart in an online battlefield? Right? Because last time I knew, you couldn't shoot somebody with an AR-15 through email. You know what I mean? So it's a different battle. And that's why many years ago, I chose to use either my own server that I ran or an out-of-the-country server. Our server's in Europe for the WatchmanNews.com. That server's in Europe, not the United States. For a reason. Trump accuses big tech of dividing and being divisive after coordinated deplatforming efforts against him. Angela Merkel warns Germany about 8 to 10 very hard weeks ahead, and speculation follows about COVID-19 lockdown extension. We keep getting told we're going to have a dark winter. And I do believe it. I'm not quite sure which way that's going to be, and I believe it's likely going to be in many ways, including lights. France reports first case of allergic reaction to Pfizer COVID-19 jab as country continues vaccine rollout. Tehran hits back after Pompeo claims al-Qaeda terrorists set up new base in Iran. He said warmongering lies. Irish government to apologize after inquiry finds appalling infant mortality at mother and baby homes run by Catholic Church and state. Let me repeat that. Let it sink in. Irish government to apologize after inquiry finds appalling infant mortality at mother and baby homes run by Catholic Church and state. Blows my mind. People are all got their panties in a wad over this election, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't have their panties in a wad over this election, but damn, don't you think people should have panties in a wad over stuff like this too? Man, have we sold out our own brothers and sisters. Let's see. All of the CIA's files on UFOs are now available for download. I told you about that earlier. I do have a copy of that downloaded. And I also did tweet out the link to where you can get that copy yourself. So, let's see. COVID-19 found to have mutated in 18 different times in one person, with some never seen before. That's cray-cray. Sentences of extremist group that planned armed takeover of Russia slashed weeks after Putin intervenes on human rights grounds. Facebook reinstates Press TV page with 4 million subscribers hours after mysterious final deletion. Exiled opposition figurehead Tikhanovskaya, I never could say her name, asked Lithuania to rename her country to eliminate Russian link. London reopens Nightingale, hang on. Oh, pardon me, had to yawn. London reopens Nightingale Field Hospital as number of COVID-19 patients in capital doubles since Christmas. Let's see. Furry protester identified as son of Brooklyn Supreme Court judge arrested for taking part in U.S. Capitol riot. PBS lawyer fired after championing re-education camps for children of Trump supporters in latest Project Veritas sting. Man, this is not good rhetoric. This is exactly the state that Germany was in when Hitler was allowed to seize that type of control. We are in that very spot. We have two sanctions of people that at this point even want death for the other. You don't think that's the same position? Spain pushes to vaccinate all nursing home residents within a week. This was, what was it? It was, I don't think it was Pompeo. It was, I think the FBI put out a statement today, and that's what that was. Video. Michigan plans to charge ex-Governor Snyder in Flint water probe. A dark market goes down. Now it's a really dark market. Europol closes largest dark web marketplace trading in drugs and malware. Now it's the dark market. Chuck Norris called a MAGA terrorist who belongs in prison over posing for picture at the U.S. Capitol, except it wasn't him. Oops. Careful what you wish for. Trump warns Biden 25th Amendment will come back to haunt him in Texas rant on free speech under threat. DOJ expects significant sedition and conspiracy cases over the Capitol siege. Let's see. These Trump supporters are going to go to your house. Schumer press event derailed by screaming critic. 200 Illinois National Guard members heading to D.C. to help with the inauguration. Pardon me. Reporter reassigned from White House job after Pompeo and woke media fight it out at Voice of America headquarters. CNN's Cuomo rages at his own words supporting BLM riots and come back to bite him. Yeah, that was crazy. And I wonder what all that had to do with. Whether it was election or this deal with Iran or what. Fresh from censoring select voices before and after U.S. election, Twitter howls human rights as Uganda shuts down social media. Let's see. U.S. military chiefs condemn Capitol riot as sedition and urge troops to stay ready ahead of inauguration in rare political letter. Fury at the shaken Capitol over the attack, security, and the virus. Let's see. It would set a terrible precedent. Pence says he won't invoke the 25th Amendment to oust Trump. Let's see. As polar vortex stirs, deep freeze threatens the U.S. and Europe. I had mentioned this here earlier about the U.S. House advancing bill. I said that headline earlier. As far as this one, keep an eye out. I'm telling you. And pole shift is still a thing, regardless of the election, regardless of other nations. Pole shift is still something entirely different than all of that. And there was another headline here. War-loving senior GOP Representative Liz Cheney's support for Trump's impeachment met with cheers and eye rolls. Get an eye roll from me. All right. That's it. That's the headlines. I mean, insanity. I'm telling you. Absolute insanity. And on that insane note, I am going to get out of here. And hopefully I can get some good rest tonight. I haven't even been really... I've been getting up earlier than normal. Between 5 and 5:30, I think. And I'm about an hour or so ahead of normal. And I'm telling you, I get up, come in here, fire the computers up, go get coffee started. While the coffee's brewing, I'm sitting down going through headlines. That is not nowhere near how I used to do it. Because believe it or not, even news guys take a little bit of a break away from news, and my mornings were that break, largely. So I actually would spend my mornings reading nonsense, Facebook, reading like a lot of the stuff in the different groups, like the drone groups I'm in and stuff like that, because them guys, and the flight sim groups, because them guys are hilarious. And so that's what I would do. I would scroll through those Facebook groups for a good laugh. That's how I normally spend my morning. So it started off on a positive note, right? So anyway, I am going to get out of here. I highly appreciate you all coming. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. I really, really hope to see you then. As always, we love you. God bless you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.